Embracing the new normal and addressing the challenge of quality in basic education, you are listening to Radio Z-eskwela, Ziguradong Mas. You may also listen and watch this episode via live stream at Z Radio 88.5 and DepEd Tayo Division of Davao de Oro Facebook pages. Good afternoon, grade 12 students. This is School in the Air for grade 12 English. Get ready and we will learn new things today. I am your teacher, Kesha M. Diano. And for an hour, we will explore our lesson for the subject 21st Century Literature from the Philippines and the World.
A dull pencil is better than a sharp memory. So please use your module, your pen, and your notebooks all throughout the discussion as you may take down notes, learnings, and as well as questions for clarification. The following are reminders in using your module. Number 1. Use the module with care. Do not put unnecessary marks on any part of the module. Use a separate sheet of paper in answering the exercises. Number 2. Don't forget to answer what I know before moving on to the other activities in the module. It is a multiple choice activity that aims to check what you already know about the lessons taken. Number 3. Read the instruction carefully before doing each task. As for this episode, I will be with you as you accomplish some of the tasks and activities for the Quarter 1, Module 2 of the subject 21st Century Literature from the Philippines and the World. Number 4. Observe honesty and integrity in doing the task and checking your answers. Number 5. Finish the task at hand before proceeding to the next. And number 6. Return your module to your teacher or facilitator once you are through with it. Shall we start grade 12 learners? Let us start. Our topic is the conventional and 21st century genres. At the end of this episode, you are expected to differentiate the 21st century literary genres and ones from the original genres, enumerate the elements, structures, and traditions of each genre, and appreciate the unique features of each genre. As we start exploring this week's lesson, let us first define the following terms to better understand the topic. What is 21st century literature? 21st century literature refers to new literary work created within the last decade. It is written by contemporary authors which may deal with current themes or issues and reflects a technological culture. It often breaks traditional writing rules. This also refers to literature produced during the 21st century. The measure of years is, for the purpose of this discussion, literature written from roughly the year 2001 to the present. Next, who is a 21st century reader? A 21st century reader grew up using technology as a primary learning tool. He is capable of navigating and interpreting digital formats and media messages. He also possesses literacy skills, which include technological abilities such as keyboarding, internet navigation, interpretation of technological speech, ability to communicate and interpret coded language, and decipher graphics. Before we move on, let us have a quick walk down our memory lane. I hope you can still remember some terms from your literature lesson. Anyway, this is an easy one. Do you know what genre is? Again, what is genre? Well, if you may have forgotten, you may check your dictionary apps on your phone. As defined in the Merriam-Webster Dictionary, genre refers to a category of artistic, musical, or literary composition characterized by a particular style, form, or content. For our discussion, we will focus on literary genre. Refer to your modules and check out the word puzzle on page 5. Look for the conventional literary genres in the puzzle. and on a separate sheet of paper, answer the questions that follow. Number 1. What are the 4 conventional literary genres that you have found in the puzzle? Number 2. What are their unique features? Have you found the literary genres in the puzzle? What are they? Let us check your answers if you got them right. The 4 conventional literary genres found in the puzzle are drama, poetry, fiction, and non-fiction. Now, can you still remember the unique features of each of these literary genres? Let's recall the major literary genres, starting with poetry. Poetry is an imaginative awareness of experience, expressed through meaning, sound, and rhythmic language choices to evoke an emotional response. It has been known to employ meter and rhyme. The very nature of poetry as an authentic and individual mode of expression makes it nearly impossible to define. Next, we have drama. Drama is a composition in prose or verse, presenting in dialogue or pantomime, a story involving conflict, more contrast of character, especially when intended to be acted on a stage, a play. It may be any situation or series of events having vivid, emotional, conflicting, or striking interest. Third literary genre is fiction. Fiction is literature created from the imagination, not presented as a fact, though it may be based on a true story or situation. Types of literature in the fiction include the novel, short story, and the novella. The last genre is non-fiction. Non-fiction is based on fact and the author's opinion about a subject. The purpose of non-fiction writing is to inform and sometimes to persuade. Its examples are biographies, articles from textbooks, and magazines and newspapers. Now that we have rediscovered the conventional literary genres, let us learn the modern literary genres presently used by the 21st century writers. 21st century literature genres. To recap, 21st century literature refers to new literary work created during the 21st century. 21st century literature, per se, is anything that was written and published in the year 2000. It is written by contemporary authors, which may deal with current themes or issues and reflects a technological culture. It often breaks traditional writing rules. Let's start exploring the modern literary genres by 21st century writers. Let's start with illustrated novel. Illustrated novel is a story through text and illustrated images. 50% of the narrative is presented without words. The reader must interpret the images to comprehend the story completely. Textual portions are presented in traditional form. Some illustrated novels may contain no text at all. It spans all genres. Examples of these include The Invention of Hugo Cabret by Brian Selznick and The Arrival by Sean Tan. Digifiction. Digifiction is a triple media literature, meaning it combines 3 media: book, movie or video, and internet website. To get the full story, students must engage in navigation, reading, and viewing in all 3 forms. Patrick Harmon's Skeleton Creek and Anthony Zeiker's Level 26 are examples of digifiction. Graphic novel. A graphic novel is a narrative in comic book format. The narrative work in which the story is conveyed to the reader uses a comic form. The term is employed in a broadly manner, encompassing non-fiction works and thematically linked short stories, as well as fictional stories across a number of genres. Archie Comics by John Goldwater and illustrator Bob Montana is a good example. This next 21st century literature is quite popular to most of the learners. Are you an otaku? Mahilig ka ba sa anime? I am sure that you definitely know about manga. Manga is a Japanese word for comics. It is used in the English-speaking world as a generic term for all comic books and graphic novels originally published in Japan. It is considered as an artistic and storytelling style. There are comics created by American artists in manga style, referred to as Ameri manga. Primarily, there are 5 types of manga. The first one is shonen, or boys manga. Do you know the famous Shinigami Ichigo Kurosaki? How about the young ninja who dreams of becoming the Hokage of the Hidden Leaf Village Konoha? Or are you still following the adventures of the Straw Hat Pirates led by Monkey D. Luffy? I am sure you're enjoying these examples of shonen, Bleach, Naruto, and One Piece. The second type of manga is shoujo or girls manga. Does it ring a bell to our batang 90s out there? One of the most famous examples of shoujo is Sailor Moon. The third type of manga is seinen or men's manga, example of which is Akira. The fourth type of manga is josei or women's manga. Examples are Loveless and Paradise Kiss. The fifth type of manga is kodomo or kodomo-muke or children's manga. Ever heard of this popular ringtone?
Ang may wagang mensahe!
Yes, that is the voice of the Tagalog dub Doraemon, which is an example of this manga. Another popular example is the famous Sanrio character, Hello Kitty. Doodle fiction. A doodle is a drawing made while a person's attention is otherwise occupied. Doodles are simple drawings that can have concrete representational meaning, or may just be composed of random and abstract lines. Doodle fiction is a literary presentation where the author incorporates doodle writings and drawings and handwritten graphics in place of the traditional font. The drawing enhances the story, often adding humorous elements. Examples include The Diary of a Wimpy Kid by Jeff Kinney and Timmy Failure by Stefan Pastis. Text talk novels. These include T-blogs, email, and IM format narratives. Stories told almost entirely in dialogue, simulating social network exchanges. We have discussed the 6 modern literary genres presently used by the 21st century writers. We will continue discussing 7 more after this short break.
The Radyo Z-eskwela program of the Division of Davao de Oro is being brought to you by Nueda Builders Construction and Supply Incorporated, Maverick Builders Incorporated, Mitch Construction and Supply, Archicons Architectural Construction and Supply, DB Construction and Supply, Hanaway Builders Corporation, Phoenix Corvada Tagum Gasoline Station, Master Construction and Supplies, Mackenzie Builders, GP&H Construction Incorporated, Metro Gear Construction Corporation, NEN Builders and Development Services Corporation, Max Mays Enterprises Incorporated, We Inc. Construction Company, Rangay Construction and Supply, East Sussex Enterprise, WM Construction, Councilor Boogie and Miss Marjorie Vertodazo, Icon Builders and Supply, and Apex Mining Company Incorporated.
And we are back. You are still tuned in to School in the Air for Grade 12 English, 21st Century Literature from the Philippines and the World, with the topic, Conventional and 21st Century Literary Genres. Earlier, we discussed the following. What is 21st century literature? And who is a 21st century reader? We recall the major literary genres and their unique features, namely poetry, drama, fiction, and non-fiction. We also explore the first 6 modern literary genres by 21st century writers, to wit, illustrated novel, digifiction, graphic novel, manga, doodle fiction, and text talk novels. At this moment, we will continue discussing 7 more 21st century literary genres. Chick lit or chick literature. It is a genre of fiction which addresses issues of modern womanhood, often humorously and lightheartedly. It typically features a female protagonist whose femininity is heavily thermalizing in the plot. Scarlett Bailey's The Night Before Christmas and Miranda Dickinson's It Started with a Kiss are examples of these. Flash fiction. It is a style of fictional literature of extreme brevity. There is no widely accepted definition of the length and category. It could range from a word to 1,000. Six-word flash fiction. This has no beginning, middle, or end, but tells an entire story in only 6 words. Examples are Ernest Hemingway's For Sale, Baby Socks Never Worn, and Samantha Wilcox's Ignored His Call and Walked Away. Creative nonfiction. This is also known as literary nonfiction or narrative nonfiction. It is a genre of writing that uses literary styles and techniques to create factually accurate narratives. Contrast with other nonfiction, such as technical writing or journalism, which is also rooted in accurate fact, but is not primarily written in service to its craft. As a genre, creative nonfiction is still relatively young, and is only beginning to be scrutinized with the same critical analysis given to fiction and poetry. 1,000 Gifts by Anne Boscombe and Wind, Sand, and Stars by Antoine de Saint-Exupéry are examples of this genre. Science fiction. Science fiction is a genre of speculative fiction dealing with imaginative concepts such as futuristic science and technology, space travel, time travel, faster-than-light travel, a parallel universe, and extraterrestrial life. It often explores the potential consequences of scientific and other innovations and has been called a literature of ideas. Examples include Suzanne Collins' Mockingjay and Sarah Maas' Kingdom of Ash. Blog. A web blog, or simply blog, is a website containing short articles called posts that are changed regularly. Some blogs are written by one person, containing their own opinions, interests, and experiences, while others are written by different people. One popular example is the personal blog Becoming Filipino by Canadian Kyle Jennerman, popularly known as Kulas. It tells about his journey trying to become Filipino through travel, experience, sharing happiness. Hyperpoetry. This is digital poetry that uses links using hypertext markup. It can either involve set words, phrases, lines, and etc. that are presented in variable order, but sit on the page much as traditional poetry does, or it can contain parts of the poem that move and mutate. It is usually found online, though CD-ROMs and diskette versions exist. The earliest examples date to no later than the mid-1980s. After learning about different conventional and modern genres of literature, you are now ready to explore more about these concepts. I hope you listened well. Now that we have finished the discussion, it is time for our learning assessment to check if you listened, understood, and learned our lesson today. Let us now check your understanding of the lesson by answering one of the activities in your module. Open your module on page 9 and accomplish Activity 1. Analyze the content of the literary piece and identify its literary genre. The title of the piece is Tristan Cafe. Tristan Cafe. I'm letting you go, she said, with the thought of making him the happiest. Yes, she loves him. Yes, her world crumbled. Yes, it broke her. Yes, she read the post. I love her, but I don't want her anymore. He posts, not ready for a knock on his door. And Anne, I'm letting you go. Yes, he loves her. Yes, he's confused. Yes, it broke him. Yes, he didn't think she'll find it. Try to analyze closely the literary piece Tristan Cafe. Can you identify its literary genre? Clue: It is a modern literary genre. Among the 13 modern literary genres we have discussed, which could it be? As you recall the discussed genres, we can discern that Tristan Cafe is an example of correct flash fiction. For assessment 1, refer to your module on page 10. Write a 5 to 10 sentence paragraph describing the characteristics of Tristan Cafe that qualifies it as a 21st century literary piece. Use the paragraph writing rubric as your guide. Criteria for critiquing your paragraph are the following. Content. This will be based on the number of characteristics of the genre listed and explained. Organization. This will be based on if the details are logical in order and interesting. Mechanics and grammar. This will be based on proper use of punctuation, capitalization, and spelling. For further clarifications, you may refer and contact your subject teachers. Let us proceed to the next activity. Open your module on page 10 and accomplish Activity 2. Let us compare and contrast these modern literary genres using the Venn diagram. As we can see on the diagram, we are going to compare and contrast text talk novel, hyperpoetry, and blog. Based on your answer in the activity, give a brief answer to the following questions. Number 1. What characteristics make these genres similar in terms of elements? Number 2. What characteristics make these genres similar in terms of structure? Please observe honesty and integrity in doing the task. When we come back, we will discuss your answers for this activity.
The Radyo Z-eskwela program of the Division of Davao de Oro is being brought to you by Nueda Builders Construction and Supply Incorporated, Maverick Builders Incorporated, Mitch Construction and Supply, Archicons Architectural Construction and Supply, DB Construction and Supply, Hanaway Builders Corporation, Phoenix Corvada Tagum Gasoline Station, Master Construction and Supplies, Mackenzie Builders, GP&H Construction Incorporated, Metro Gear Construction Corporation, NEN Builders and Development Services Corporation, Max Mays Enterprises Incorporated, We Inc. Construction Company, Rangay Construction and Supply, East Sussex Enterprise, WM Construction, Councilor Boogie and Miss Marjorie Vertodazo, Icon Builders and Supply, and Apex Mining Company Incorporated.
Before our break, you were tasked to accomplish Activity 2 on your module. Let us now check your answers as you compared and contrasted modern literary genres using the Venn diagram, namely text talk novel, hyperpoetry, and blog. First question. What characteristics make these genres similar in terms of elements? The answer? All the genres use the web to share and present stories. Number 2. What characteristics make these genres similar in terms of structure? Let us start with text talk. Text talk presents stories using social network sites. Most popular examples are those posted on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Blog. A blog is a page or website with feature stories posted and regularly updated. Hyperpoetry. Hyperpoetry uses hyperlinks to connect to other parts of the literary piece. This is usually found online. Congratulations, grade 12 learners! You really did listen and understand this lesson. There are more activities, assessments, and additional activities on your modules. Finish the task and seek help for clarifications from your subject teacher. Today, indeed, is a worthwhile learning experience for our subject 21st Century Literature from the Philippines and the world. DepEd Davao de Oro continues to deliver quality in basic education in this new normal. I am teacher Kesha M. Diano, leaving you this inspiring quote from Brian Herbert. The capacity to learn is a gift. The ability to learn is a skill. The willingness to learn is a choice. We will have a question and answer portion. For the next 5 minutes, we will entertain clarifications regarding our topic. You can post comments on the Z Radio 88.5 Facebook Live and DepEd Tayo Division of Davao de Oro Watch Party, or you can text at this number 0953-211-3492. Again, you can post comments on the Z Radio 88.5 Facebook Live and DepEd Tayo Division of Davao de Oro Watch Party, or you can text at this number 0953-211-3492. Just a reminder, questions to be entertained are purely related to the topic we discussed. We will cater only for 5 minutes.
Radyo Z-eskwela Executive Committee. The Schools Division Superintendent, Eufemia T. Gamutin Seso 5. Assistant Schools Division Superintendent, Dr. Romel R. Handayan. OIC Curriculum Implementation Division Chief, Karina S. Frasco. School Governance and Operations Division Chief, Dr. Ruben J. Riponte. Members: Cecilia Morales, Dr. Hilda A. Opeña, Dr. Arlene B. Lim, Dr. Eldicris B. Calzadora, Dr. Dexter A. Siquinia, Nohara O. Pinute, Noemi P. Canales, Dr. Grace D. Pontillas, Virgilito C. Pabrices, Juanito Lapiceros, Engineer Norberto S. Manlangi, Jomar M. Dumupoy, Bob Dalan S. Milabat, Medard T. Ampit, and Paz Eugenia Villusino. Technical Working Committee, Productions and Communications, Lorely E. Quijano, Given G. Hinampas, Judyland D. Yu, Donna D. D. Bolifer, Mary Rose N. Resma, Riven Manuel, Irene Lea C. Manguhon, and Bessie Aya N. Banias. Social Media and Packaging Team, Christian and Hara L. Martesio, William R. Ranara, Joan T. Iscoton, Roberto S. Acusar Jr., May B. Istanyol, Richard H. Arellano, Lee L. S. Blanco, Ralph A. Tabanyag, Angelo Gutierrez Jr., and Jade Karen Arais.